is frequency, and people oftentimes separate these things, right? They feel that they want a peaceful life when it comes to relationship and when it comes to this mental peace, but then their entire life is chaos. Again, it's clutter in a house, clutter in a closet, clutter in their agenda, clutter in the friends that everything is just chaos. I don't really even know what kind of friends do I have. I'm constantly with someone else, constantly chatting, constantly with someone. My house is a mess. My closet is a mess. My phone is a mess. I have some old messages. I follow like thousands of accounts on social media. How the hell you want to attract peace? The universe doesn't see and feel this distinguish. We live in a world of energy, right? Everything is energy, and I love highlighting this to you guys, how our guides, right, that are operating on the level of spirit realm, they don't feel into the solidness of our world. They see it as sort of as they show it in the matrix, and in waves and energy and in numbers. So when you want peace, but you're so surrounded by clutter, and you may think that this is just a physical clutter, it doesn't matter because you want a peaceful relationship. If you want anything that is peaceful, you have to start embodying peace everywhere in your life. Similarly with love. If you want love, you have to embody love in everything that you do, right? On every level of your life. Spiritual, the mind, the physical, everything. And I feel you, with that judgment that we had as the last card of your first row, you would be having that realization, that aha moment of taking a look at it. I don't think it's that major, to be honest, for you, for this collective. If it's truly, if this whole reading from the beginning, you feel like this is your reading, I don't feel you're this person that is drowning in clutter, in tons of friends that no longer resonate. I feel these are bits and pieces, because you already understand that in life we have to follow passion, that we have to periodically cleanse certain things from our energy. We have to embody what we want to attract. There are just few things that you have been avoiding, that your spirit guides have been trying to explain to you, that however insignificant they may seem to you, and however insignificant they may seem to the matrix and maybe opinions of other people, they're energetically relevant. They're energetically relevant. You have to start, the higher we grow on this path, there's a moment that you really have to say a firm no to anything that doesn't resonate. And I highlight this to you guys sometimes, that in the beginning of our spiritual journey, we entered this energy of yes men, right? Yes, I want to try everything. I want to give it a try. I want to try different spiritual practices. I want to try different experiences, because you are on a journey of getting to know you, of exploring you, right? Of going inward. So you have to say yes to everything that may help you on your journey of self-discovery, of integrating your shadows, right? But then when you start to feel into the real frequency of your spirit, of you feel into what's your dharma, what's your karma, you feel into your direction, your path, your destiny, right? You sort of switch that, and you have to start saying no. Even if I have 0 friends, universe sends me someone that I know they don't resonate, I'm going to say no. Even if I love to have romantic love and I crave love, if I have a feeling of how perfect relationship should resonate, how it should feel, what I really expect from, right? I'm going to say no to anything that is not that. It's the art of not settling. If we truly want to reach our highest timeline, the universe will test us with smaller things, with things that are good but not that great, right? So again, in the beginning of the journey, it's easier because you just say no to very heavy karmic things, that karmic partner, that friend that betrayed you, that job that is so low vibrational and that you really didn't like. But then the moment comes that you start to realize that you're gonna have to learn to say no to things and people that they may be good and beautiful, and there's nothing really, there's no harm and there's nothing wrong in, interacting with them, but it is not in alignment. And this is where many people stop and settles, because they don't have enough self-love, enough dedication to that dharma, to say no to anything that is not that, and keep that space for that perfect cup empty, right? Until in divine timing, the universe feels that it's time to grant you the biggest prize. Let's do one more row. What else is in your energy? The Hierophant. The Hierophant. I'm hearing two things with this Hierophant. One, yes, it's a very beautiful energy of that high priest, of that spiritual maturity, and I can feel into that. But it's also, again, I allocate this energy, and I was hearing this clearly, conditioning. So we were talking about, right, your passion, that you're realizing that you should follow your passions. It doesn't matter whether you understand. It doesn't matter whether it makes sense. It's something that we've explained in the beginning of this reading, so I kind of don't want to repeat myself. And you are in a moment of life that you're going to be embarking on a new cycle and a bit of a new journey as a different person, right? There's still a bit of a death and rebirth transformation happening within you, because you need to remove and declutter and cleanse certain things. But I feel that there may be certain things that you struggle with because of the conditioning. And my mind keeps going back to those friendships. So this collective, you may have some friendships that, if you look at those people, they're good people. You don't have any discords with them. They're not doing you any harm. Maybe they're people who for many, many years, or even your whole lifetime, they've been your friends. You could count on them, right? But I feel like now there are people in your life that you don't resonate with. Situations in your life that you don't resonate, and I feel that because of the conditioning of what people say, that it's a lack of loyalty, and maybe it's egoistic to just drop some people with no reason. Why you no longer, I've sometimes people love to say that, right? I've given you so much of me for so many years, and now you're turning your back on me because whatever, and I don't even understand it. So maybe you have still a bit of a wounded and distorted understanding of loyalty, and of, the question is who you're more loyal to, because the first person on earth that we owe the biggest amount of our loyalty is ourselves. So are you loyal to your values, to your core values, to your path, to your aligned path, to your dharma? Are you loyal to that? Because, again, it's what I said before to you guys. Not every removal has to be brutal. Sometimes you just slowly have to move away from certain people and start saying no to things that no longer resonate. Starts to be more you. Sometimes the solution, you guys, is to start to be more you. If you have a friend that no longer resonates because you grew, for example, for the past years, and they haven't grown that much, so now conversations is just like you don't even know what to say, because you're more interested in whatever, career, astral travels, personal growth, whatever that is for you, and they keep bringing stories about, parties and different friends, and right? Start talking about things that interest you. You will see how fast they will drop. Just be you. Sometimes we don't need to take action other than 100% being you. Express, it's that truth that we talked about. When you disagree with them, express that. Don't just listen, and don't just nod. When they say something, say it out loud with love and kindness, but say it out loud. You know what? I don't really resonate with that topic of conversation. I'm sorry, like, to offend you, but it's boring to me to talk about, like clubs or part or whatever that is, right? And then speak your truth. I want to talk about something that interests me, and this is something that I've heard about, and then start talking about that. You will hear, you will see how fast they themselves will drop. Because ultimately, as I teach you guys alignment, all we ever need to do is to be ourselves, not to be quiet when we feel like speaking out our truth, not to make ourselves small when we feel like sharing what is our passion, what interests us, what we really love, what we're interested, not having the conditioned fear that we will be judged because we do want to talk about astral travels. It's coming to my mind, so maybe it's relevant for some of you. Just be you. Be you, and you will see how much you won't have to take action other than being you and removing people that no longer resonate. It's usually why we're not naturally dropping people who no longer resonate. It's usually because we put on a mask when we're with them. Because if you're saying to me that there's a person in your life, yeah, they're a good person, they're not a bad friend, maybe they've helped you in a certain, moment of your life, but you're bored when you're with them, you don't resonate with their conversations, you don't really, the fact that you're having these moments with them, these conversations with them, it's because you're putting on a mask. If you were really honest, bluntly honest, and saying, oh my God, boring, again, with love and kindness, right? Oh my God, I don't want to hear about your newest conquest, or I don't want to hear again about the same problem that you're not taking. Usually it's that. Usually we stop resonating with people that they constantly repeat the same patterns, and then they constantly put blame on others, that they constantly put blame on this world, they constantly tell us about the same lessons and same problems. And because we started growing and breaking our patterns and expanding, we are seeing how it is them who keep them stuck in their life, right? So you only need to be you. You only need to be you. The reason that they themselves are not dropping is because you're putting some sort of a mask. All right. What else? Five of Pentacles. Yeah. I feel this is there is some sort of in your energy, this collective, there's something that you need to remove, something that your guides have been trying to show you, something that you have been avoiding, but deep down you know that it requires cleanse. You know that it no longer resonates with where you're going, with your highest, most aligned path, but you have sadness within you. It's coming to my mind as well that sometimes, yes, it's the conditioning, it's the misunderstanding, the wounded understanding of loyalty. You're not betraying someone by moving away from them because you grew towards different directions. Again, you can, still, you don't have to block and delete if this person feels like counting on you a couple of times a year, or maybe wishing them happy birthdays, that's something that is important to you or to them, you can still do that. But it's about your daily energy, your regular energy spent, right? So that's the first thing. But I feel sometimes, and maybe you're not realizing this, sometimes we're afraid to move away from certain people, not just because we tell ourselves that it's the loyalty, right? We tell ourselves they've done so much for me and now I just don't want to walk away from them. They need me. But deep down, you guys, it's going to be a harsh truth what I'm about to say. But 95% of cases, deep down, the reason is actually egoistic. Because us ourselves are afraid to take an action. We would rather the universe to do it for us. Sometimes we've talked about this. Last week was very brutal, and we've talked about this on my stories, that last week was sort of a week that if you're refusing to remove something for many cycles, it was a week that the universe will just come in and cause that tower moment. But many times, for the sake of our growth, the universe invites us to take that decision on our own. And it's not really our loyalty, but we're afraid to take the decision and take action. Sometimes we are afraid of that loss and that change that will come with that decision. Sometimes we no longer resonate with that friend and we tell ourselves that it's this fake, distorted loyalty, whereas in reality, we're just afraid to be left without a friend. It's that energy that we were talking about, that sometimes you have to remove that cup and that space will remain empty, sometimes for quite a bit, before you prepare it for the actual thing, right? So really think about this. I feel that there is some sort of a sadness, some sort of a regret. There are certain things that you need to let go of, whether that's those friendships or maybe some lifestyle. Maybe there's a part of you that you energetically attach to these friends, people, situations that you're afraid to let go of. There is a little bit of regret and sadness in that cleanse that you're being invited to do. All done. Okay, we have the Hermit. Virgo's coming to my mind. You may be a Virgo. This energy sort of, it would make sense with a Virgo, but it may just be a detail. But you have been hermiting. With that avoidance, with that Three of Pentacles, you've been sitting on certain thoughts, certain decisions, certain guidances and signs that you've been receiving from the universe before taking action. Maybe it's coming to my mind as well. Maybe you think that there are certain things that once you take a decision, there's going to be no turning back. That once you remove someone from your life, there's going to be no turning back. But you guys, it is and it isn't true. Sometimes the test itself is to dedicate ourselves more to us and our path than the physical things and people and the attachments. That's one. And if someone is really meant to be, they will always circle back. And we often chat about how life and the path of life is about choices, right? Every day we take a choice. Who we want to be, how we want to grow, what do we want to remove, what do we want to attract. It's choices. It's choices, right? But, and within those choices, we as well try to remember that what is meant to be will be, right? And we know that there's an infinite amount of timelines that exist simultaneously in the quantum field, and through those choices, our awareness is connecting and materializing different timelines. So the sort of a farther along away, linearity is just an illusion, but farther along you are on a path towards your alignment, you're going to be dematerializing more and more paths and timelines because they're going to be relevant. You're going to be more closer to your spirit's frequency, right? So there's going to be things that no matter what happens, you ain't going to do these things because now you really understand and you're sitting in this energy of true authenticity, right? And we know this, we learn this, but sometimes we forget that as we move and take those choices and get closer and closer to our highest timeline, certain people, they may be our soul connections, they might be their soulmates, but they are also going through the same path, right? And they're also faced with choices. And we, our soul, our blend of spirit and physical body, so that unique avatar, may be taking better and better choices. Grow, remove, attract, progress, right? And other people, even though there are our soul connections, they have their own path, they have their own pace, they have their own choices. They might be getting stuck on certain patterns and cycles. They may be choosing to settle in their life. Not everyone has the same strength, dedication, and it's all good. Ultimately, we have infinite amount of time and lifetimes that we can go through to achieve our soul's final destination and final goal in this physical game of life. But sometimes we're not moving in the same direction. And in some of those situations, You move away from certain people because they have to learn more, they have to repeat. And if it's really destined, yes, you will find your way back to each other. But sometimes you may have a soulmate that you trust that you're going to find your way back to each other, but they will get stuck on a certain level of their consciousness, of their expansion, and you won't in this lifetime find your way back to each other. But the core here is to choose you, to choose God, to choose alignment, than whatever is choosing to stay behind. Because they're not being left behind because of the cruelty of destiny. They're being left behind because of their own choices. And I love highlighting this to you guys, that the closer we are to someone on a soul level, right? So if someone is your highest soulmate, or in rare cases twin soul or highest soulmate, we operate on a same or very similar frequency, right? And then with lower soulmate, it's a similar frequency, but it gets more and more different, like, right? If we are really tied to someone, living is the same experience of life, there's someone in your life that you know that it's a true soul connection. All the growth that we do as we rise our vibration, because we're connected through red threads and golden threads with these people, it always gives them strength. It always motivates them. So chances are, especially if it's very, very relevant milestone on your path to return to this person, your spirit teams will always collaborate. Your higher selves will always collaborate to help you to somehow find that way back to each other, right? But sometimes you may have people who are important to you. They're your mid-level soulmates, lower soulmates, right? Or good but karmic relationships that you don't resonate on such a similar frequency. So it may be that they will take different choices for themselves that are not in line with their alignment, and you won't find your way back to each other. And it's okay, because whatever is united in the spirit realm, not to mention that in the spirit realm we're all one, but if and we're all interconnected, right? But if something is really close to your soul, as we shed this physical body, you will never lose them. Energetically, you will never lose them. It's just a physical attachment that we sometimes cannot let go of, right? There's a reason that came to my mind, but I feel there are some decisions that you have been avoiding, but avoiding as well, you've been sitting on them. It's not like you're completely avoiding, right? But you know, you see the signs. You understand the signs. You understand the guidance from your guides, and you've been hermiting to prepare for that final action. It's like you want to make it right. One more. The tower. The tower, you guys, and we have Two of Swords at the bottom of the deck. What is it that I said to you before? The magic of the past week. There are sometimes energetically, collectively, there are moments in our life when we are receiving signs and guidance and from our guides, right? And we're, please work with us, please do this, please do that, move away from that. And we're ignoring. And there are moments in our life, or again, collectively, like it happened last week, that the universe says, it's gonna be painful, it's gonna be harsh, but I'm gonna remove it. And it's that tower moment. So maybe you have been experiencing that. And sometimes when we have people that we have to remove from our lives, and whatever it is, it doesn't matter who they are to us. And source is, and our guides are sending us signals and creating situations for us to understand this person is not good for you. They're not right now, even if maybe in future, right now they're not in alignment. Remove it. And we're refusing. Ultimately, they will create a situation, if it is in line with our highest timeline, they will create a situation whether they will move. This universe has infinite power. They will move this person to a different city. They will create a discord between you, that this person themselves will move away. Whatever that is, whatever that is, they will know how to make it happen. But it's usually much more painful and brutal than when we do it ourselves. This is why they always give us those opportunities. Similarly with jobs, with lifestyle choices, whatever. If you're refusing, you're receiving signs, for example, to live a healthier lifestyle. You're refusing, ultimately they're going to send you a physical condition or an illness that you won't have any other choice. Or they're sending you signs that you should find yourself a different job, and you're ignoring. They're going to get you fired. Whatever that is, and it's going to be more painful. But it's always for the sake of alignment. I feel there have been certain things, and it's top of the judgment and peace, that there has been certain things that have been taking away your peace and your sort of a flow towards alignment, that you've been ignoring and you've been refusing to remove. So they created the tower. But if all that reading resonated, this collective you watching, you would be aware of that. You would be aware of that with the judgment, with all your energy. You know what's going on. You know what's going on. Okay, let's do a bit of I want to do these before we do some shadow work. I want to do these to confirm. We've been doing your energy and your emotions. Let's tap into the energy of the physical world, what's been going on. Abundance. Keep positive mindset. Gratitude. So maybe you have been in an energy. You guys, I paused my timer on 555 and we have the Grim Reaper. So there is someone, sign. There is someone that needs to be removed, whether it's already ongoing or you've taken that decision, that needs to be removed from your life. The relationship is over, no second chances. Grow and transform your life. You have been invited to grow and transform. There is someone who is not resonating with you energetically. There is some, I feel like for this collective, it's not a romantical relationship. It's going to be a friend or someone from your family. For most of you, it's going to be a friend, because it's been coming to my mind. Someone who has repeated enough cycles in their life and is not learning and is refusing to grow to a level that universe knows and your guides know that they're no longer resonating, and the difference in vibration is more and more, so it's affecting you more and more. It's what I explained before. It's time to end this, otherwise you're not going to be able to grow and fully transform. We have wedding rings. And we have the Chaser. What was coming to my mind, it's codependency. So maybe without you knowing, or maybe you even do realize that that relationship has traces of codependency. Fear of abandonment. There's a recent video, it's coming to my mind. They're showing it to me. I've done it. I don't remember what it was. I've done a video, or whether I was chatting to you guys on my stories, and we really broke down the codependency, that sometimes people don't understand it, but as long as someone's energetic state, actions, decision influence how you feel about yourself and how you feel about who you are, your sense of self, that's codependency. So whether you realize that or not, I think there was traces of codependency, and on a path of true spiritual growth, we have to remove these things, because as long as you're codependent on anything in the physical, whether that's external opinions, external outcomes, people, you will never be fully connected to God and follow your path. Connect, don't attach. Codependency comes from physical attachment. So maybe you have been codependent from this friend, this person, for quite a long time. We're going to clarify, but with these wedding rings, I was kind of hearing two things. Either, it may be a detail, but either, now I'm hearing third thing. Okay, so it may be three things. It may be that you met this person on a wedding, even if it's like a long time ago, but you met this person on a wedding. It may be that they recently either got married or they met someone new, And that's sort of a situation of settling, repeating a pattern, right? So maybe for some time you both been like single, working on yourself, and this friend suddenly like decided to settle, or they merged their energy with someone that you completely don't resonate, and that created friction as well. But the third thing, I was also hearing, it may be that you yourself had that sort of a distorted, unhealthy friendship relationship where you were almost like a couple. You were so codependent. I'm not saying in a physical thing, but sometimes, you know, when we're very codependent on someone in our life that is a friend, people externally sort of look at us like, are you guys like a freaking couple? Because